What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys today because it is time to talk about some of the free agent cards that are released in the next set coming out in the TCG, which is Burst of Destiny. Now, I will not be going over all of the cards, particularly the ones I'm more interested in, having to be the free agents, and I'm also going to do a video on the Desparia. So that's going to be a longer video. That's more so of a confirmation video of names. This video, we're going to be talking about the confirmation of rarities and the confirmation of changes that are going to be done, which could be potential for the next set, Burst of Destiny. So the first card that we're going to talk about actually won't be Ready Fusion. Ready Fusion will be a card we'll associate with the other card that got released, which that's also causing some controversy of its own. So if you don't know what a free agent card is, I can actually take a good minute to tell you. Free agents are Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are part of any Yu-Gi-Oh set, mainly main sets. They're not particularly attached to any archetype. If they are, it's an archetype that has been released, will be released, and this is the support that will be given, or it's a really generic spell trap, or a monster that can be used in multiple decks to help that deck take advantage of certain strategies or to counter certain strategies. And if not, that be an extender, which an extender itself is just is a name that the Yu-Gi-Oh players of today use in terms of putting a new card onto the field that is a monster, or a spell or trap that helps you get a monster onto the field with ease without having to waste the resource of a normal summon or give you an additional normal summon. It's basically just to keep the combos going. So, with that said, Ready Fusion is one card, and then this card here, the Iris Soul, is another card that we'll be talking about, as well as the fusion monster that's coming out in this set, known as Alvin, the Final Nothingness. Now, um, the Iris Soul, she has been confirmed as a secret rare. She's a level 8 light attribute spellcaster effect monster with 2500 attack and defense. During the main phase, if a monster whose effects are negated is on the field, you can just quick effect, you can just summon this card from your hand. If your opponent just summons a monster or monsters, except during the damage step, you can activate one of these following effects based on where it was special summoned from. So if the monster was from the hand, you get to summon one monster from your hand. If it was special summoned from the deck, you get to draw 2 cards. If the card was special summoned from the extra deck, you can destroy one of those monsters special summoned from the extra deck. You only use each effect of the Iris Sword Soul once per turn. Very amazing monster. Um, she will relatively be used in decks just to counter out decks that do a lot of special summon. The reason why this card is sparking us some controversy is because not too long ago the OCG revealed that this monster is associated with an archetype coming out in Burst of Destiny, which is the set that follows this one, called the Zhao. And the Zhao have a lot of kindred to this monster being part of their archetype. We're not particularly sure, and we do know that the OCG confirmed that the name needed to be changed in order for it to be associated with them, I believe. I do believe I did this in the Zhao Zhang video, so if you have not seen it, you should definitely check it out up in it's in the playlist that follows where this card is going to be left in. So yeah, it is a very strange thing that I guess the archetype is going to be called the Sword Soul, which would be really cool if that is the thing, because it would just define what Xiao Zhang is. But I think Xiao Zhang is just a translation of the Chinese words for soul and saber. So, yeah, that'd be really cool. This would be a really great art system, and this is a really cool monster. She's going to be expensive as hell because she is a secret rare. Another secret rare following her, of course, is Ready Fusion. This is a card spoiled earlier this year when they were talking about Dawn of Majesty. And yeah, this card is pretty sick. It's a really cool spell. So it is a normal spell card. It says pay 1,000 life points to summon a level 6 or lower non-effect fusion monster from your extra deck, but it can attack and is destroyed during end phase. This is treated as a fusion summon, and you can activate one ready fusion per turn. Well, if this card did not sound familiar, this is the retrain of Instant Fusion, which says that you can pay 1,000 of your life points to summon one level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck. It can attack the turn. It can attack and is destroyed during the end phase of turn. This is treated as a fusion summon. You can activate one instant fusion per turn. Now, why is this card a secret rare? What is so good about this card? Well, there are a ton of fusion monsters that can be used in various archetypes and decks as extenders. And extenders are really good for those archetypes because, like I said, it brings more monsters to the field so that you can do a lot more plays. Mainly exceeds, synchro summons, fusion summons, and stuff like that. With Ready Fusion itself, it's basically a mimic of Instant Fusion. The only thing is, it's a level higher of the monsters that it can search, but those monsters also have to have no effect. There are two particular monsters currently in the game. One coming out in Dawn of Majesty, while the other is already out. The monster is known as Sea Monster of Tessus, where it's another generic fusion monster. It requires two tuners. It's a level 5 zombie water attributed fusion monster that's also a tuner. And seeing as how good tuners are and how flexible tuners can be, especially in combination with cards like Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion, it's going to be a good boost to them because that's a level 5 tuner. And all you really need to do is start summoning lower level monsters that aren't tuners and then go from there. You can even combo with some big monsters and bring out some other cards as well to really get things going. Now, the other monster we're going to talk about in conjunction with this is this bird here, which is actually not a bird, and it's actually a fairy. This monster's translated name is going to, we don't know what its translated name actually is in the TCG because no one's translated it, and I think the organization is actually ready for them to confirm if it's a common or a super. So at the time of the recording, we won't know what's going on till tomorrow, where the TCG's YouTubers would will be opening packs because Konami sponsored them to help them do these videos because it's a way for Konami to get more people involved into basically selling off their product. So yeah, I mean since we talk about it so much anyway, yeah, it's a very weird scenario with this, and I wanted to take advantage of talking about this while I had the chance because I honestly think this is a really good monster because it's similar to the Sea Monster where this monster is also a tuner. So let me give you the stats of this. In the OCG, this monster called Alvin, the Final Nothingness. It is a level 2 dark attributed fairy type fusion tuner monster. Requires 2 normal monsters. Has an attack of 0 and a defense of 2100. That's it. It has no effect. So you would look at this card in older days and be like, this card sucks. Why would this card be a thing? Then they introduce instant fusion. Then they start introducing synchros and exceeds and link monsters that are monsters who can take advantage of those types of cards. And because it has no effect, you can use this on other monsters that require monsters that are normal monsters. Because even though this monster is a tuner, there are a lot of tuners who are not effect monsters. They're normal monsters. And this just gives the boost to cards like Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion, which kind of makes sense to why Ready Fusion was the secret, and this card could potentially be a common or rare. A lot of us are probably hoping this card is a common, if not a super that isn't going to be short printed, because this would still be really good for a lot of combinations, especially considering free agents are basically able to be used in multiple decks and not have any, negative takes on it, if you get what I mean. Like, basically, it's not going to hurt the deck if the card is in the deck. It's just if the player chooses to want to run the deck for the combos that they have, then they are able to do such. So, yeah, I mean, this, like I said, I wanted to just to focus on these three because these three are the cards that I'm definitely going to be looking out for. I'm going to be looking for how they're fluctuating within the game. And some of the decks I will be using will most likely have, especially that Ready Fusion, because Ready Fusion can be very useful in some situations. Because it's basically another version of Instant Fusion, and it's not at one yet. So, yeah, I'm very much taking this, and I did do a video for Ready Fusion, so I'm gonna leave that in the description box. But not description box. I'm gonna leave it in a little card thing below, probably sometime around here when I do talk about this card, or when I start talking about Ready Fusion. So yeah, my final thoughts on the free agent stuff that I'm looking at. These are going to be the cards that a lot of people are going to be seeing after. There is one other monster that I do want to quickly go over, and that is right up here. This monster is the Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah. Yeah, they spelled out Messiah the way they did. It's a secret rare in the set, and its stats are it's a level 8 attribute Cyber's Pendulum monster. 20 has 2500 attack, 3k defense with a pendulum scale of 0. As a pendulum effect, any cards sent to your graveyard are banished instead, except for monster cards. Monster effect: you can reveal this card from your hand. You can add one other pendulum monster from your hand, or one of your pendulum zones to its owner's extra deck face up. And if you do use such summon this card, you can only use this effect of Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah once per turn. If another monster is no more social monsters is no more social summon while you control this card, you can send monsters to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. So it's a great clear. It's an easy social summon. It plays around with other pendulum decks, which is not too hard. And it's also a really good anti-meta against decks like Sky Striker or decks that are heavy spelled, because this forces only cards that are monster cards to be sent to the graveyard. And with something like Sky Striker, who do need their spells in the grave to do a lot of their combos, this is a really good card for them. I hope you pull it or you have the money to get it, because I know this card is 9 out of 10 going to be very expensive when it does have its initial release, because I do believe the set comes out August 12th, so that's in about 2 weeks. This card on its own most likely will be part of the sneak peeks for the OTS stores that will be having these cards, and definitely going to be trying to pick up some cards online if they do get the chance to be online, because well, this isn't the card I'm going to be looking forward to, but I'm going to be trying to find ways to deal with it. Like outside of Pendulum, like I said, various anti-meta can definitely take advantage of this. Our decks that don't care about their spells and traps being banished, but are okay with their monsters being in the grave, because that's where they're going to be doing a lot of their focus. And then with that in told, you can play around with how this card's effect works, and then take advantage of it. It's kind of one of those things where you think of cards like Battle for Artemis, Macros, Cosmos, and D-Fissure, because it's basically an inverse of D-Fissure, where D-Fissure sent only monsters to the banish, but not spells and traps. This card is sending everything but monsters with its pendulum effect, and it's a pendulum card, so you can definitely put in your pendulum zone if you're not already using a whole bunch of spells and traps anyway. So yeah, and if you're a pendulum deck, this is a 0, and you can just put a big scaled card on the other side, and it's just going to be like a 8 or a 9 or even a 10, and you basically have an entire army of things you can touch with something from your hand or face up in your action deck. So yeah, there are a lot of things with this. So with that said and done, I'm going to wrap up my video here, because I'm really not going to be talking about anything else. So if you want links, anyone guys want to check these things out, the free agent cards that have been announced, I will definitely leave both of the links in the description box below. You can also like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps me out tremendously. You hit the notification bell so you guys are informed of when I do upload more content to the channel. You can watch me on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJoe, where I do a lot of my own video game explorations, which you can check out there. As well, you can hit me up on social media. All the social media links are in the description box below if you want to interact with me on things like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, with that said and done, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. HPJ signing out, and you guys have a wonderful day.